We're good to go. Whenever you are.
Okay. How many seconds? Yeah. There it is.
Good.
All right, we'll call our meeting to order. I'll have you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First agenda item tonight is approval of the minutes from the meeting held September 8th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
First is Angie. Do we have a second?
No second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting held on September 8th, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next agenda item is persons wishing to address the school board.
Somebody else was on the list before me, but I didn't have questions. What's that? Okay. With the meeting change times, how is notification of the community being told, like, when it's at 5, when it's at 7? Because I went to tune in September, I was watching online, and I tuned in at 7, and the meeting started at 5, or 5:30, whatever it was, and I wasn't sure. And I just accidentally pulled the agenda for this month. I don't normally pull the agenda before I come and realized it was at 5. The minutes for last month say that tonight will be at 7, and that didn't get updated. So when I read the minutes, I was like, oh good, next month's at 7, I'm good to go. And I accidentally discovered that it was at 5, and I know I'm not alone. Is there like a way that we can post that on Facebook or let the community know? Because I'm not the only one that likes to come.
We change it on the agenda and we change it on the school calendar.
Okay.
So we made the change.
Once I write something down off of the school calendar, I don't go back out to the school calendar. Is there something that will notify me when changes are made?
We have to post it correctly 24 hours before the meeting. I think we made this change last week. As soon as we made the change, we changed it on the agenda and we changed it on the calendar. So I would just say, double check on the calendar.
Is there a way to sync that calendar to somebody now, like, so that it updates in mine?
There is, but it won't, like, I've done the same thing on mine and it won't have to go in manual and change it when something changes.
Okay.
Are we allowed to say anything or no?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. I would recommend checking it because things change. Like we had originally had it at 7:30 because we were going to try to make it so that 3 of us who have middle schoolers playing football today could go to the game, and then the game time got changed. So we had to revert back and try to change it again. So it's just, we're all parents and their schedules and stuff, so I would just recommend going back and just double checking ahead of time. It's not that we want to change it, it's just stuff happens like that. So.
It's not always the top priority on mine to check, and I get that that's not good.
I think too that the recording stays up for the entire month, so you can go back and rewatch it at any time you want to, if that's helpful. But.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. My name is Sarah Simmons-Ma, and I'm so thankful that you guys are giving us an opportunity to speak. I have some moms with me as well. I have a daughter here in Dell Rapids, and I have 2 on the way. And the reason I'm here tonight is because I deeply care about our school security and the safety of our students and staff. Basically, as the district continues to grow, I feel like so our responsibilities to ensure the safety of our children and staff. One of the areas that I am concerned and needs our attention is the lack of security to the front doors of our schools. So I'm here to respectfully ask the board to consider locking all doors during school hours and implementing some type of security system to come on campus. Other districts in our region have already taken steps towards installing call systems or security systems, and I believe that we should follow suit and be proactive as opposed to being reactive. And I really, like again, I said in the beginning, I really appreciate your time, your leadership, and your commitment to keeping Dell Rapids School safe for everyone. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As always, these are comment section, or these are your opportunity to bring things to us, so they're not going to always get met with a response. But there are things that we will take and talk at agendas, you know, and if we need to bring forward at the next meeting, we will. But thank you for bringing that, so I just want to make sure you heard that. Okay. Anybody else wishing to address the school board today? Okay. The next item on our agenda is the approval of our meeting's agenda for tonight. Are there any changes? No changes. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
First Matt, second Angie. Those in favor of approving the agenda as posed, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any new conflict of interest disclosures?
Not.
All right, moving forward, our consent agenda. Review, if you have any questions, please bring those forward now.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
And a second.
First Matt, second Karen. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as displayed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First item under old business is roof HVAC, and I see somebody from.
Yes, so I'm going to introduce Carrie Hacker. She's been our kind of point of contact on this deal, so I'm going to let her just kick it off. And if you guys have any questions regarding the process or the roof project, feel free to ask.
Could you restate her name, please?
Carrie Hacker.
Okay, thank you.
Carrie Hacker. I have met most of you, and if not, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
These we will not be going through all, but I just updated information from the last time you presented with the board. Yeah, I just took you guys that there should be not for everybody. So the few questions that I made notes of that the district had questions on. The first one was our 2025 project completion. And so over the summer, we did a very healthy chunk of the high school roofs and completed those. Really had no issues in the sense of as the project went on, and anything small, we just kind of dragged it as it went. But it was pretty seamless. They are finishing, they have 1 day's worth of work left. They ran out of the sheet metal just to finish like the perimeter edging, so they had to reorder and remake the rest of that, and they'll have a 1 day left in the next week to 2 weeks that should be done for completion. At that point, we will do a walkthrough with staff for a final punch list, and then also do a warranty walkthrough where our warranty inspector will come and walk and have a punch list if there's anything that we visually missed that he's able to uncover. So those are the two processes that are left, and it will be a roof that lasts for 30 years. So we do have some other, I did put, before I move on to next, I put this one together. I provided these updates through a project process, but this is every week. As the project went on, we sent updates of photos and what we did, the percentage of completion, and I just put everything in here. We'll add to this. This is kind of closeout binder, I would say, but warranty needs to be added. There's a few other documents that need to be added. If there's ever an audit of some sort, you'll be able to go in here and find the information that you need. So I'll be in place. Let's start with it. Then if you go into the middle, so this booklet was just updated. You guys would have saw this presentation 6 months ago, probably 2 years ago. I can't remember when we were here last. But I did update on the high school. If you look, about 4 or 5 pages in. These green roof areas were all of the roofs that we completed this last summer. And so we'll update that as it goes. The next items on the agenda, so if we flip, we're gonna see the elementary school log, and then this budgets page. So that's updated, just removing the project that we did. These budgets are provided as a suggestion, depending on how funding for the school district is, priorities of other projects. These can be broken out, phased out as the district needs, but kind of a guide to work with. These have been updated to show there was an area that we didn't do, that we tried to do some maintenance to prolong, so that was moved. So there's very little changes to this from what we presented, but there's just a few, so. Yep, we would like to do an inspection of the elementary school again, just to see if some of those maintenance items that we recommended have been done. If not, if there's anything crucial before winter, so that's the items to do. Otherwise, those are the few things that I wanted to go over. If there's any questions that you guys have on the roofs.
I think you answered one that I sent you. Do you guys have any additional questions?
The inspection to the elementary school roof, like there's things that button up before winter, is that like stuff that is already under warranty that would just need to be repaired, or is that?
So we were never involved in those projects. We're just trying to help give some advice on preventative maintenance that would help prolong those roofs as long as possible. So yes, I'm not sure if you guys are still doing warranty claims on those roofs, along with it. Yeah, the history, I think there has been a little challenging, and I'm not fully aware of it. I know John is.
Some of the smaller things just to get by, I don't believe you've done a warranty. I think warranties have been out there.
And some of the items that we're seeing that is just maintenance related items that aren't warranty items, we would make suggestions to just do some cutting, relaxing with the tended base slashing, some very minimal things. There is quite a bit of it at that school that's going on, but there's things that can prolong the life of the roofs. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
I would just like to commend you and your team. I've done a lot of projects over the years, and your communication has been by far way above anybody else's. So thank you for that, because generally that's the most difficult part, is trying to get some type of communication back.
Correct.
You've been great. Mike was great. Anything that needed to be done, he was on top of it. I know we had a couple electrical things.
Right. Yeah.
But really, really good. Great service. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I would also say that just being a citizen of the town, you come by the school, it was always well kept when people weren't working, or like, as far as school operations, I don't know that anything was really impacted.
No.
Timelines were met, so all that was very, yeah.
What was
that? In middle school, I had a couple.
The guys on the roof were homecoming because the kids were tossing candy up to them.
That's just what it is. Work has to be done. So.
Yeah.
When you are in a very residential area, so you have to be more mindful of just some of the things that you're doing.
No, the workers are great. Mike was great. You guys are it's a good project. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, it's up to you guys on how you want to proceed with doing projects in the future on timelines, but we can work together as, if it's out 5 years, if it's out 2 years, whatever works for the district, we'll continue to monitor.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is, I'll work with you to schedule that walkthrough piece, and probably get somebody from our facilities and companies in the dates, so if they can make it, they can make it.
Yep.
Once we wrap up this one, I wouldn't mind sitting down with Kim and you guys, just to come up with a game plan.
Yep.
So that I can present it to my board, whether that's 2030, we start again, or, whatever it looks like. Getting the roof in the elementary, reevaluate would be good, because I know that's some tough spots over there. We have some leaks going on here, kind of look and see what's going on.
Yep.
If we have the budget for it for 28, 29, then we can do that, or, we just need to sit down with you guys again.
Yes.
And prioritize.
Yeah, so those are in there for budgets that you can kind of look at as a guide, if we might want to look at how it's broke down for phasing, so.
And I know you can always make things maybe stretch a year or 2 or 3 or whatever. So
Right.
I like to just visit you guys and say, what's the most important and when.
Yep, And like even there's a few small roofs that are replaced soon here at the high school, but there's just such, I can say those are ready today, but they're small and they might not be advantageous to do independently if we can stretch those out and do them when you're
To
going
get
to
equipment here and get everything else.
Yep, yep.
And then we can talk about our board and start prioritizing not only that, but where does that fit into other things that we want to do. So, yeah, great, and thank you for coming tonight, I appreciate it, Mr. Bradford.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, you guys have any more questions?
I do not.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, our next item under old business is strategic planning.
See if he's here yet.
Oh, it should be close. Looks like we start on maybe 1:15.
Okay. Do we want to buzz through some of the rest of the stuff and then give him a chance to get back here?
Sure.
He's got something for, and if he's not, then he's not, but I think he'd like to be here for that.
Sure.
Some of these other things he had some questions on, I've talked to him on his way here, so he's aware of that, so I think if we get on new business, give you a chance to get here.
Right. So we will restructure it just slightly. Under new business, we will go to 9A, MOU, negotiated agreement amendment.
Okay, so just a little background on this. Kim and I have been working with DREA on this for a couple of months and even some other things before that, even a month or so before that. So this isn't just something we just on the way we've done, but the nuts and bolts of this piece is in the negotiated agreement. At one point in time, you may even know when this was put in or maybe not, but let's talk about early retirement and being eligible for our early retirement incentive program. If you don't know what that incentive program is essentially once a person on staff, if they're eligible for the incentive, meaning they worked here X amount of years and they've got enough time in the district and they're eligible to retire, they're eligible for this incentive, which is essentially $30,000. It's like $10,000 a year that they can put into their retirement program.
Mhm.
It's not just cash, it goes into.
They had to set up a
They
403.
set up
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yep, they set up a 403B plan with our investment company that we partner with, and those funds go directly, we write a check directly to there. It's not that they get a check for cash.
We only have, I think, 6 more staff members on staff that are eligible for this. And it sunset and ends in 2030. And that was a decision the district made some time ago. Probably about the same time they took the pension levies away. So we don't tax for that anymore. So the district essentially said, this is the X amount of dollars we have, this is what we can put towards it. And we're done doing it in 2030. The staff members that are eligible for this incentive have been talking and have been lining up their retirement plans so that they can all participate in this. If 2 would go at the same time, then they would have to split it. Or the senior employee gets it all. And they want to try to avoid that so that they all can take advantage of it. In the meantime, in doing that, what we noticed in that negotiated agreement is that there's a clause in there that basically says if they seek reemployment, they're not eligible. Well, if we want to keep, we have certain positions that are very difficult to hire. And we have a good teacher, or if we have good staff in those places, we would prefer them to come back. But in that clause that we're trying to eliminate today, it says if they seek reemployment, they're not eligible for the benefit. Well, we don't want to punish them for wanting to come back and work for us. Now, my guess is that this was put in there at one point in time because it's more efficient for the district to hire a new teacher because it's less dollars. So they don't want to basically have to pay out this and have to hire that same high price employee. The difference in now in 2025 is A, it's going away in 4 or 5 years anyway. B, it's really hard to hire some of these positions that we have good people already. And the final thing is now there's an accountability system to where we have to give. We can't just not give that money. So if we hire back for less, like a new teacher for less dollars, what that teacher was being paid that just retired, it has to go into our total accountability system anyway. So districts, they will get away with like saving
the money in salaries because of the new accountability system. That money has to go back into salaries. It's just spread out amongst the 70 staff members versus just the one person. So it really doesn't, it's kind of an outdated piece in that negotiated agreement anyway. We have talked to DREA, I met with them last month. They said, go ahead and do it last month, and I said, well, just take a month and you guys meet with your people, make sure it's okay. I spoke with the presidents of DREA, they're fine with it. She helped me write the MOU, so we just need you guys to agree to it and approve it because it is part of the negotiated agreement.
And just so everybody's clear, DREA is teachers, peers of the people.
Dell Rapids Educational Association, so it's
Making sure
it's the teacher.
as much for the people on live watching or here too, so.
So anyway, that's the nuts and bolts. I just wanted to explain it.
It was my understanding that before you could not, I mean, the early retirement incentive, they could not work for a state agency.
Right, and now, I don't know what the rules
Now-
exactly were then, but now it's
Right.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Now it's 1,250 hours.
Yes.
Right, and that's why it was in there. And then when the state took that away, basically we're self-funding.
Mhm.
But yes, the whole point was to basically incentivize senior staff to retire
Exactly.
and replace them with cheaper, younger staff. But yeah, we're in a different world and,
Which I think most people were kind of doing then, but now
Right.
it's.
well, and some positions are easier to rehire
Exactly.
young, new staff members and some are not, so,
And you have a pension levy to be able to support those programs, and
right.
we don't have that now. So,
So you need a motion to approve the change?
we would, yeah.
I'll make a motion. I'm fine with it.
Second. All right. We have a first by Angie, second by Jason. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the MOU as presented, please say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. New business, 9B, 2025-2026 ADM report.
Okay, so just for you guys, for your knowledge, the official ADM is not out yet, but Kim and I have been calling Pierre relentlessly to make sure that our numbers are correct. And we did get an official, unofficial number of ADM, which is 941.57. Last year, we were funded at 974. If you remember when we were doing all those projections last year, we projected like 943, budgeted on 945. And what that estimate came out to was $7,085,383. Actual dollars this year, $7,086,657. So we're $1,200 to the good. So we were darn close. So budget-wise, we're going to be fine. Clearly, we want more numbers. We lower ADM to get up there. We don't know that we graduated a larger class, but that's kind of where we're at. But I will tell you, just so you know, as we're projecting that we knew by losing enrollment that our bottom dollar was going to be a little different, even with the 1.25. And it is. Last year, like I said, this year was $7,086,000. Last year, our state aid was $7,223,000. So it's a difference of just short of $137,000. So that's just an idea of decisions that we made and why we made those decisions was because of this, and our projections were pretty darn close. So moving forward, I think it's just going to be just as lean next year. I don't see big raises coming to the school, so we'll start to go through that and go through the budget process. One thing I do believe is our ADM will stay a little more stable because I think our kindergarten classes coming in are going to be probably even a little bigger than what our current senior class is. So just because of that, we might go up 10, 12, 15 people. So we shouldn't have that big drastic swing in having 30 less kids just because of the crazy class size. Anyway, so that's where we're at funding, and as we move forward, of course, we'll continue to give you report, especially when we get into January, February budget time.
So there's nothing that we need to move on.
No, this is simple for you, so you knew we weren't like $300,000 off or something crazy like that.
I just want to re-highlight, and it's kind of, you've already said it, but I want to say it from a board member perspective that last year we had some difficult conversations about, our teacher negotiations, what to set our budget at, what to do with our music program. And I think all of those justified by the number that's come here, all the hard discussions, it's made us healthy is what I'll say. So, and you're saying can't be in that same mindset, so.
Yep, and we still have some work to do, when it comes to just having discussions about how much we want to keep borrowing the capital outlay and some of those things, but those are all just welcome to be on board.
Yeah. All right, next item is the first reading of policies, CBG, DLC, EBC, EEAD, GBA, GBEB, GCJ, IG, JN, IIA, and IHHA.
Okay, so we're trying to take some big chunks here and try to get through a lot of these. Some of them, I don't think there's a lot of work to do. I think they're pretty good. Some of them, you can take a look at some HPSC stuff. Some of those, the three of us probably need to get together and talk. I just wanted to get this on our agenda in October so that we can have our first reading. And that way we didn't have to, I know we haven't met and talked about it yet, but we have time to do that before November. If we pushed it to November, then we're having our first reading in November, then we're reading our second reading in December. Just keeps pushing those things down. I'd like to nail down a bunch of these here in the next 6 months, so. That's why it's there. We do not need to make any decisions on it tonight at all. It's just the first reading of those policies.
Okay. With that, we've completed our new business. We're going to jump back to old business and complete section 8B, which was strategic planning.
We saved that for you, so that when you came.
Sweet. Apologize for my tardiness. I was doing just fine until I hit Baltic, and then I spent a little bit of time in Baltic today, or just outside of Baltic. So I sent you guys kind of just the notes on our strategic planning committee meeting of last month, where we kind of just talked a little bit about method and mode of what we were going to do during the external focus group 2. Not a whole lot of that has changed from what we discussed at last month's meeting. I'll just highlight a couple things that we kind of dialed in. We talked about basically ahead of time, we're going to do some separation of demographic of participants just to get the clusters separated. For those of you that participated in the last one, you probably noticed it's just a human thing, right? We tend to gather around people that we're familiar with, and we tend to be familiar with people who have similar lifestyles. So we're going to try to avoid that a little bit by, for lack of a better word, assigning seats.
You're going to do that for those that sign up?
Right, and then we'll just sort of wing it for those that show. And the sole purpose of that is to get different points of view at each table. It's not about participation. I think we had a great demographic spread at the last one. I think we will again. It's more about getting those different demographics at each table. The plan is to have one board member at each table, sort of as a facilitator help, but also sort of just so we're not like off in the corner looming over everybody, because we want this to be an open conversation and we want to be part of it. We talked about, we're gonna print off 5 posters, basically, or banners from Walgreens, that have the goal areas and action steps on them, pre-printed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cover up the established action steps with some painter's tape or whatever. And then as they're discussed, we'll reveal them and put stickies up there to reinforce them. And that's going to do 2 things. I think it'll help just move the conversation along, and it also acts as an efficacy test against what we discussed at the last meeting, which was like 6 months ago or whatever. So we know if it comes up again, that it's something that it's important. And it also, on the flip side of that, it also gives us an opportunity if at the end of the night, there are several things that are still covered up that didn't get mentioned. We as a board can look at those and say, well, were those one-off things? Are they important? Do we need to continue? Dr. DeBoer gave you all a 2-pager on outline kind of minute by minute what we're going to accomplish. I think that's all pretty straightforward and makes sense. I don't know, based on what he put out in the board packet and what I just said, are there any questions, concerns, additions to that process?
I would just add to your participants, so I still have an email list of who participated the first time. And we will email that, like an invite for them to join us for this one. We'll do either like a Google survey or some type of survey as far as almost like an RSVP, so we have some sort of idea. We'll also put it out on our website and social media, just if you want to join, please join us. They don't have to have been at the first one. But again, there'll be some sort of just RSVP, so I have some sort of idea who's here. And then likely we'll be able to manage those groups to where you have some diversity in each of them, where it's not just a bunch of high school parents or not just a bunch of middle school parents, it's kind of move people around. So that there's just new ideas and a little more flow of conversation so that other people can add pieces. So that's our plan when it comes to communicating to people that want to join us.
Sure.
And you guys got the table diagram, kind of what that looks like, and we'll figure out the banner piece. It is November 3rd at 6:30 p.m. So November 3rd at 6:30. As far as the agenda, we all kind of worked on that together, the two of the committee. I put a rough draft together, but we moved some things around after we talked about how we wanted to organize that and what that looks like. I'm certainly open to any suggestions you have tonight. If you want to change these or move some things or add some different questions, this is by no means the set in stone has to be this way. But it gives us some sort of an outline and a little bit of a rubric when it comes to how we want to run those discussions and then work towards some of those outcomes.
The only question I have is that there's no time frame associated with the mission, vision, and value section. And I didn't know if that was strategic or if that's included in the first 10 minutes.
That is an outlier that we can maybe discuss. In the notes from our meeting, we had it at the end. It might make more sense to do it at the beginning. We did not necessarily set time aside for it.
Yeah, I think it's just an oversight. We could add some time, but I do think it's something we wanted to.
Yeah.
From the last meeting anyway, it was something we wanted to give some time to as far as here was our suggestions. Do you have additional ones or are you all passionate about something different, I think?
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful to put it towards the beginning of the meeting if we can, because if we're trying to figure out what goals are going to be priority, then I think they need to be decided amongst, like we need to have those at front of mind throughout our conversations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. So we can just rework that agenda a little bit.
I moved it up to the beginning.
Okay.
So, and I just need to have time, so just so you have some time. Yeah. And I don't know the 2 hour, I mean, my guess is that it's somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. I always feel like if things go too much longer than 2 hours, especially longer than 3 hours, I don't know how much you're accomplishing.
Yeah.
With this many people and this much to talk about, I would say 2 hours, maybe a little more is a good time frame. I think if you get it too much longer than that, you start going off the rails a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, I don't discuss this as your committee too, but I would also ask if maybe there's ways, if all board members are going to be at a table, maybe there's some like read the room cues type of things that we can be like, and whether that's via text or we have just, hey, we're good, we can move on. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It says 20 minutes. If we take all of that time, great. If we don't take all of that time, I just don't want to sit there, you know.
I would gladly be a timekeeper.
Okay, I just,
Well, and we could have like,
We have like a
flag or
reading,
something,
like
yeah.
a
That's
flip
where
thing, yeah.
That each table, when they feel like they're done with their discussion, they can.
or,
Flip the thing over and then we know who's all done and who's still working.
Yeah.
We can create or something.
Just so, yeah, because there was a couple of times in the first, forum, like the teachers and stuff, where it's like, we kind of were done discussing, so then we just kind of sat there.
Okay, those are the questions I had.
Yeah. I can grab some of those.
As far as additional notes on invite go, maybe, just like last time, make some invitations on your own directly to people. Those are the best kind. They get the best responses. Hey, I'd like you to come because, not just I'd like you to come. I will reach out to Matt Larson and make sure it goes out through the business channel, through the Economic Development Corp and their mailing list. I don't know if maybe you want to create a Facebook event. You have more Facebook followers than the school and the rest of us put together, so. I have like 4, so.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, once I get that survey,
Yep.
kind of RCP thing, I can send it to you. You can just
Share it out.
or we can put it on our Facebook page and you can share it. I think I have it on Facebook, so I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, that way it goes out to the school and then I can share it and everybody
Then
can
we can all
share it.
share it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
There you go.
I personally would prefer if it originally came from the school and then could be shared by
Yeah, we'll put it on
everybody.
our social media platform.
Yeah.
You guys can just hit the button, whatever.
Sounds good.
I don't have any other questions. Is there any other discussion for this?
Well, I think we have to make a decision, because we're kind of going back and forth with Angie's notes on the mission versus vision. And deciding on,
I just made this copy, so I didn't know if everybody had seen that Google page.
Yeah.
I made a copy so everybody could see it, thinking maybe it would come up, visualization a little about it, so she could hit the ground running on this one, please.
Sure, yeah, so just a little overview here. Angie made these comments, I think, not long after our last meeting, probably. And then I didn't respond till last week. So if you haven't read this, it's probably because it hasn't been out there in the universe too long. So maybe we can start with your reasoning or whatever for your point of view.
Well, I simply started by looking at what is the definition of each of these things. And then you kind of look for what do other organizations and companies and things use for a mission, vision, values? What makes the most sense? And so when you look up what the definition of those for, I feel like the mission statement and the vision statement need to be switched back around to the way that we had them originally, so that they meet the definition of each of those terms. And I mean, I guess I have the definition of each laid out there. You probably don't need to I don't need to reiterate, but basically, I tried to just go back and do some research and look at things and what aligns with kind of what is defined as these things. I guess that simply stated as that, I guess, is where that came from. And I just feel like it's if we move forward with the way that we were looking at doing it, it's just kind of backwards. That's all.
Okay. So I will admit there's a little bit of semantics here. And definitely the last 20 years or so with publications or whatever, the use of vision over mission or as mission has definitely slanted that way. Books like Vision Driven Leader and things like that have changed the language as such. The bottom line is that a mission has some definable, tangible goal aspect to it. And a vision is who we want to be in in an actuated sense, right? And those are the two things that define those two separately. If you wanted to look at it on the flip side from kind of the negative side of it, is that you could say that we empower each other to excel has been our mission for 10 years. And what if anything tangible has been, or measurable, has been achieved through that statement as our mission said? So that's the difference. A mission has some sort of idea of an end state in place. And a vision statement is just, these are the kind of people we want to be. Vision's your who of the 5 W's, so to speak.
So I'm gonna go back to the document you proposed, okay, for discussion. You had that we keep the mission statement as we empower each other to excel in academics, arts, and athletics, correct? The vision statement to be Dell Rapids Public Schools strive to be a model of excellence and equity. That's that paragraph, correct? Okay.
I mean, I did make just some slight modifications to try to shorten it up and make it more concise. Proposed. You don't have to do it that way. It's just, I feel like for statements like that to be effective, they do have to be relatively concise and clear.
So, point of having this meeting is to discuss. So Matt, Karen, what are your thoughts? I have thoughts too, but I will hold those until such time as the board has had opportunity to speak. You're open either way?
Yeah, I honestly think it's semantics. I mean, what's our mission? I mean, we empower each other to excel. What have we done? I mean, we've got a blue ribbon elementary school. I mean, we've done some things with that vision, mission, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess to me, that's what drives my decisions when we decide, what we're going to fund, where the money's going to go, is because it's our mission statement that academics, art, and athletics are basically the mission of the school. It's the priority. So whatever, I don't care. It's words on a paper. I mean, I guess for me, it's what we do, that's where the rubber meets the road, I mean, ultimately, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it, words on paper.
What thoughts do you have, Karen?
Initially when Jason was proposing the change, I kind of thought, kind of semantics and whatever, and doesn't matter to me. The more I think about it, it does seem like vision is more of like an overreaching goal, kind of encompasses everything, and a mission is more specific and should have tangibles tied to it. Like that makes sense to me. Like if you think of different organizations, they're going to have like their overarching vision of their organization or their business, but then there will be like different missions involved, in that piece. And it makes sense to me that the vision should essentially stay the same, but the mission may occasionally change and may adjust because you've achieved some things or the world has changed, that kind of thing, and that makes sense to me. Where the mission is not always going to be the same. And so, because it's specifics.
So to me, that's just changing goals for certain circumstances, but ultimately our mission would still be
The vision
to excel.
would be the same, to excel, but the mission on how we're going to achieve those things may change.
Okay, well, I just,
That's all I.
that's just not the way that I see it.
Yep, and that's why we're
That's
having,
why I put that on paper and everything, so.
and so I appreciate that, but what I will also say is in the mission and vision, even as you were talking about it, you're flipping them back and forth. That's why it's hard. That's why we need to be cautious. So I wanted to make sure everybody had their opportunity to speak. I do, after I read this before, I read it again tonight, I just wanted to clarify, which sections you were referring to specifically, but I'm a firm believer in the fact that in your last statement here, that keep the measurables, but keep them within the strategic plan itself. So you have the mission, which is short, we empower each other to excel in academics, arts, and athletics. And then the vision is that longer paragraph that you concise, that made a little bit more concise, so it's only the 3 lines. So if I'm on the board and I'm bringing something to our group on November 3rd, if we would vote, this is what I would want to bring to that group. And I feel like if we try to put all those measurables in those statements, there are roadmaps, but the measurables should be in the plan itself. So I guess if I had to put my foot down and say something, I guess I'm saying I appreciate what you wrote down and I agree with it. So I don't know. If we're trying to decide what we're taking to the crew on November 3rd, do we need an official vote here? Because that's basically what you're going to print on your stuff, correct? Or is that just going to be the other?
We haven't decided on what we're gonna print, if anything, on the 5th.
Okay.
Banner. The first 4 banners are just gonna be what was already been established
Okay.
through the process.
Through the strategic planning.
Yeah. So again, I understand what everybody's saying. I think I would go so far as to say that if there is not some what in one of these statements, then there's no point in having 2 statements. Because you're just talking ethos in both statements then.
Okay.
You're just making 2 ethical statements. We empower each other to excel, or the longer version, one way or the other. So yeah, do we need to list all the goal steps or whatever in the mission statement? Absolutely not. But there has to be some sort of, this is the end state. Whatever that is. This is the what. Otherwise, it's just another why.
So then what are we doing on the 3rd then? That's where the what is to come from, right?
Yes, for what for the parts you're talking about, you don't want published within the mission statement. Yes, so the action steps as part of the 4 goal areas, that's coming out of it. But the statement on the what, do we want to be number 1 or whatever that statement is a requirement to differentiate mission from vision, regardless of how you see mission and vision. If you want to flip-flop them in your head, one of them needs to have a tangible end state. Otherwise, you're just making 2 ethical statements. Even if they support one another, that's great. But then, why are we making 2 ethical statements? We could just have one, I guess, would be my argument. We could forego the longer, kind of self-actualized version and just say, we empower each other to excel, and then within the strategic plan, define excellence as A, B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily advocating that path. I'm just saying that's what differentiates the 2, regardless of what we call
Sure.
them. So,
Do you look over and see how you took your language and put it into,
Yeah, to me, it's not, A mission statement defined as a brief, clear, focused declaration that defines an organization's core purpose, goals, and reason for existence. Nowhere in the definition does it say that there has to be something measurable in that. So to me, the measurables go into the strategic plan itself, the goals. And we're saying this is our reason for existence. With a clear defined statement of.
But I think his point is excellence is not defined. So if your definition is a brief, clear, and focused declaration that defines, we're saying excellence is our goal, but how do we define excellence? And that's how we got started on this conversation. And so that's why he's looking for some kind of statement in there that says, for example, through a commitment to being the #1 district in Dell 12 conference. So that we have some kind of definition of what excellence is.
But is that not a goal?
Well, and doesn't that change?
Which also changes.
Right, depending upon what
Being
you're
the
talking
#1
about.
in the Dell 12 conference, that's a goal.
Right, but that's kind of the whole thing, and that's why I guess in my opinion, you don't even put that kind of stuff in a strategic plan, like a mission statement, because that changes. What education is now is different than what it was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, just, you look at like even the graduation requirements are different now than what they were just a few years ago.
Which is why I think we need those timelines put into like reevaluating these goals so that we can make sure that we are changing things as they need to change, as circumstances change and such.
But that's where you change your
So that's why
plan.
I feel like by doing the measurables, we're writing goals into our mission statement, which is not,
Right,
in my
It's not where it
brain, it's not what
belongs.
we should be doing.
right. It belongs in the plan.
I understand that you want it to be like tangible and we have to say, how are we gonna do this? But to me, that's the strategic plan and that's our set goals and that's our timelines and that's the things. Those are the things that we're holding ourselves accountable to do, to uphold what we define as the reason that we're existing as a school district. That's the way that I think about it, I guess. So that's where it came from. I'm not, yeah, and that's fine. Not everybody agrees with me. I respect everybody else's opinion, but I'm just trying to, like, I just keep going back to putting something tangible in it, then basically we're inserting goals into the statements, and that's not what they're meant to do. That's what the strategic plan is for, I think.
So then the way I see it, you have two options. One, you either take these two options and use them in this 10 or 15 minutes and test the residents with the stakeholders that you've written here and have that short discussion there. And we take these two options to them and let that be the guide and be done with it. So then we're actually giving the voice to the people, even though we're here representing them. Or we kind of just say, well, we continue as is. This is our mission statement, which was and has been. We empower each other to excel, academics, arts, and athletics, and then we do everything else into the strategic plan, which is where I believe we can put any innumerable amount of measurables in. I don't think it's that we're disagreeing about the measurables, it's just where we state them. So
Yeah.
those are the two options I would propose. Either we compromise and stay as is, or we take the two proposals to the group that night and get feedback there.
I mean, I guess if you guys both have strong opinions one way, I sort of have strong opinions the opposite way, so maybe it is best to take it, thus, I'm not sure. But.
I'm open to whatever.
You go to what?
I'm open to whatever.
Okay.
I've been making the same statements as we started this,
Mhm.
and it isn't gonna change.
Same, well, I mean, like, yeah, I just,
So then I'll tell you from a summary standpoint, it sounds like we're taking them to the group to see what they say. And then we'll take our final direction and discussion after that. So our meeting will be on November 3rd. We'll have those two options to discuss there. And then our November board meeting, which will be on what date?
The week later, 10th, I think.
It's 10.
Okay. Then we can have final discussion there.
Final discussion there, and then we're not really adopting this until December anyway, so we can
Right.
keep that rolling.
Yep.
Makes sense.
I'll put it in the agenda.
What's that?
I'll put it in the agenda, just kind of.
Okay.
We're gonna go there.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there anything else about strategic planning that we didn't talk about? Okay. All right. We have our section 10 other. First on that agenda is the superintendent report.
Okay, so I do have a couple of things, I'll try to run through these fairly quickly. A couple of your handouts, there's the large school group, that's what we worked on last week, Wednesday and Thursday. It's a position paper, essentially. We take the old ones, we reword those, we put in some new stances that we take. These are basically the marching orders that we give to, like to our lobbyist, so she knows these specific stances. Read through those. If you have any questions, let me know. I think they're pretty self-explanatory when it comes to what we want from schools. These will not be the only things, because as you know, bills after bills after bills get proposed, so we'll be talking about some of those, but this gives you an idea of kind of where we're at, so, and what we did at that particular session. One of the things that will come out from this legislative session, I think you guys have heard a lot about it, is the property tax reform. And there's been a lot of talk about owner-occupied taxes, which is essentially, all those that own property and live there, is too high. So you heard that a lot last year. You're going to hear it again this year. I believe there's 8 proposals out there right now. There'll be bills eventually. The sentiment is that most of those are going to be torn apart and argued against, and they're just not going to work. But the governor has a tax relief bill, and I did make a copy of that proposal so you can take a look and read that. The basic nuts and bolts of this particular bill is giving counties the option to propose a half-cent sales tax, county specific, so each county can make their own decision. And that half-cent sales tax would then go to property tax reform. I'm just going to give out rough numbers here, so don't hold me to these numbers, are not even close, but just for math. So if you say Minnehaha County, for example, needs $100 million in owner-occupied property tax, and they impose this half-cent sales tax, and it creates $20 million, then the tax bill from, say, South Dakota for Minnehaha will be $80 million. And that $20 million then goes to their coffers, but it's only $80 million in property tax, so that savings goes to homeowners in that county. So that's essentially the nuts and bolts of it. Now, different counties are going to have different successes here, so that's why it's like county specific. Clearly, if you're in Lincoln or Minnehaha and you have tourism and a lot of spending, you're going to get more dollars in sales tax. Pennington and Lawrence and some of those around the Black Hills, you're going to garner more sales tax. If you're in Buffalo County, I don't know that it matters, right? Moody County, right? So
there's no balance.
That's what you're. I'm only, again, you can. We don't need to go into the really thick of this, but I just wanted you to have a chance to read it and see it, because it will come up in legislative session for sure. And it'll probably be the one that's most talked about, and kind of push through. So take a look at it. If you have any questions, give me a call. With that being said, this sheet here, I just wanted to show this as we start talking property taxes. You may run into our legislators from time to time, and if you do, you'll hear a lot of the common narrative of, well, education in schools are driving up property tax. And I just wanted to put this off to you so you see the history of general fund levies and allocations. If you look at this,
and you go 2016 payable, 2017, all the way to 25, 26, you'll notice that our levies go down. So saying that schools are driving up property taxes is not true. Our levies are going down. Now, what has driven up property taxes, as you all know, is inflation and assessment valuations. Those have went like doubled in 10 years. So you're gonna garner more dollars. But to say that it's schools that are taking their, that are driving these prices, it's not schools. And you can see that this is from the Department of Education, and you can see the trends of what the levies do. So I just wanted you to have that in your hands if you run into any of our legislators and they say, well, it's the school's fault, because it's not. But anyway, so that'd be a good piece for you. Any questions on that?
So
Let me get into a little bit.
levies have gone down by a third in a general sense, is that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know if it's about a third, but yeah, if you take a look at it from 16, 17, 3.687 all the way down to the now is 2.518. That's where we're at, because they're just looking for a dollar amount. They're not looking for the exact mills, right? They just need, state aid is this, and this is what they need.
Which is 32%.
Yeah, so. I think it's good information for you. And on the rest of that sheet, you can kind of covers that. And also at the bottom, what I thought was a little interesting is if you look at student funding for South Dakota, because let's talk about all these declining enrollment, where is that? Just for context, the 22 schools that are in the large school group was anywhere from Sioux Falls being the biggest down to and Custer might be the smallest, and then all of us in between. 830, collectively we're down 838 kids in that group.
It's the other ones.
So, where is that coming? I was surprised. I was talking to the superintendent in Watertown. They're down 600 kids in 7, 8, 9 years. Like, that's a class A school. I had no idea it was that many. So, a lot of us are in this boat of declining enrollment, the accountability system, not much funding from the state. What are we going to do? Well, what everybody's doing is their attrition, not hiring positions, and not hiring positions eventually that we need. So it's an issue, and just cutting funding to schools is not the answer. But anyway, like I said, fall 2016, 132,000 plus kids. You can see it kind of steadily rises there until about 22, 23, it kind of dips in 24. It'll be interesting what it is now, but that's overall kids in South Dakota. We're not necessarily going down, So just interesting information for you. A heads up on just some things that are going on. We have a special ed review in November. We know about that for a few months, no problem. Work is on that. We also have a Title I review going on right now, and Ms. Cleveland just wrapped up our food service review, or is working on it. Right, so how that all lands on us in the same year, I don't know, but that's what we've been pretty busy with dealing with here in the first couple months of the school year in our offices. I'm sure we'll be finding all of them, not concerned at all. It's just finding work. They're all kind of desk audits, so it's the email you tell you what you need, this is what you need, you send it to them, they take it out and all that stuff. It's just kind of constant communication, sending information. So everything's fine. I just want to give you a heads up. Professional development for us on October 31st is going to be in the morning, explicit instruction from Compass. Did you hear me over there?
I did. Did you hear me?
Just so you guys know, it worked out great. In the afternoon, we're doing science and reading for the language arts people in elementary. In the afternoon, high school, we have AI and education that come to help some of that. So pretty good day there. Also, Horace Mann is bringing gifts for we're having a Halloween contest there, staff Halloween contest. It is on Halloween day. So it's a costume contest, and they're going to bring gift cards or whatever, or something fun to do. So excited about that. A couple more things. I've been talking with, I met with Matt Larson at the time with the chamber. He's got something different now, but we're with him, Mr. Denny and myself, talking about how we can bring a job fair to school for the high school, what that looks like. Mr. Denny has met with Principal Lennox. He's going to get their take on it.
On the 14th, tomorrow, I believe there's one at Redfield High School, so be visiting with them. Just trying to put that together. Matt's doing a great job of talking to chamber and business owners and what we want that to look like. We want it to look for our high school students as something that, hey, this is something I could do. These are all the jobs we have to offer. You know, I throw out like LGFers all the time. LGFers isn't just working at a quarry. They have engineers, they have truck drivers, they have quarry, they have human resources. I mean, there's tons of things to do. We want businesses in town to be able to say that to our kids. Like, we're not just, you know, BX Construction doesn't just have trucks. They do multiple things. They have concrete, they have house building, they have electrical, they have all these things that they can do. We want to give our people in our community an opportunity to get that across the kids and say, this is what you can make in a year. This is how much education you need, you know, those types of things if they are interested. So hopefully we'll get that wrapped up. We'd like to do it. We thought originally in spring, and now we're talking with Mr. Denny, we're talking maybe before Christmas, but we'll see. Matt's helping us out to gain interest in business owners in town. So work on that. And then November 3rd again, 6:30 is going to be our start focus group meeting. And I think that's all.
Thank you very much. Item B, committee reports and or other board comments.
Actually, can I add one more thing, just because I remind me?
Sure.
I've been talking with the Booster Club, Mr. Silverman and I have been. You may have noticed we made some very small improvements in the football entrance deal. There's some other things that we want to do. Mr. Silverman and I have been working and talking to some people about and giving a proposal when it comes to budget time in February to give to you all to say, is this something you want to do? In the meantime, the Booster Club was looking for a large scale project. So Mr. Silverman went to a Booster Club meeting, presented 3 or 4 different things. They've kind of grabbed this project as something possibly large scale that they'd be interested in. So what I told them is to get a committee together with the Booster Club, talk amongst yourself what kind of improvements you think you'd like to see. We'll do the same on our end, then let us get together so that I can put a plan together to show you all. So no, I haven't been in contact with them directly, but Nate Jones, I believe he's president now, has been relaying some of the communication with Mr. Silver now. We're just kind of working to get us all together. So good, so. Because my large scale, what I feel like the school district could afford may not be the same as, you know, an outside group. So just want to make sure that what we bring to you as a board and our recommendations isn't too great.
Sounds good.
Sorry, that's all.
Okay. Are you sure, Mr. Yes. Okay. Are there any other committee reports and or board comments?
I just want to say thank you to all the teachers and everything. We had conferences the other night, and it was a wild time trying to get to all the teachers of 3 students. We made our best effort in this year, but I always appreciate seeing all the teachers and hearing all their comments. And I know it's a long night, a long day.
You made it work overtime.
Yeah. Sorry. It is a long night for them, so I very much appreciate the opportunity to give feedback on my kids.
Great. Well said. All right. Any executive session?
No.
All right. Our next regular scheduled meeting is on November 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Are we okay to keep that timing?
Yeah, fine with me. Yep. Well, as long as you guys are. I don't know what's, I mean, I think there's some stuff coming up from time to time now, but
That should be fine.
I think we're good.
All right. November 10th at 7 p.m. With that, is there a motion to adjourn our meeting at 6:08 p.m.? So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor of adjourning our meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
Always back.
Drive safe.
No, those are your stuff. There. Can I get one?
Yeah, you did. Oh, yes, he has an extra one.
Awesome. Thanks.
It's, only for all 3 years.
Yeah.
Are you on your waiting in line to go up?
Yeah. UI basis?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Couldn't see what it was.
If it doesn't say so specific.
Yes.
Apologies, but I did not get a response.
I was able to piece it together based on some other responses. Would everybody prefer that I like ask at the meeting prior to payroll? Because
So I'm not saying, you want to deal with problem.
like I already promised that if I got such a master I like retracted it. To get it in, because then we should be free of like
I
from people.
I agree.
No, I don't mind how.
They all just like.
I started thinking about after that, but I was like, oh, I guess.
Jody.
Well, I tried to
I think
say,
you
like,
should bring it up
close
to
enough
the
to that page, like that it's on your mind, but like also not far away that you forget.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just ask at the meeting prior, before any of you leave, and just tell me what you're.
I know that's the first thing they'll week, so.
Would it? Okay. I'll do that.
And I don't think it's not, I'm not saying.
I paid for some, you worked, you did something, but like.
I was just like, oh, no,
I said, hey, they did the
That's
same
fine.
thing.
Thanks, everybody.
No, you're good.
I was.
So I was like, well, let's be the. They want to
Crazy,
crazy.
I'm gonna be exchanging jobs and whatnot.
Oh my.
I didn't get the email chat.